pressure, just the way we say it on the street, pressure tiwa, pressure here and there, following the threats and, the underground lobby and agitations to force interim governments, President Muhammad Buhari said that nobody will persuade him to remain in power beyond May the 29th. But the question is, what do you think is the motivation behind those sinisterly calling for a cease to Nigeria's democracy, BKO?
There are those who feel extremely bad about the way the elections went. They've lost the election, especially the presidential election. They are not so concerned about what transpired during the governorship election. What happened during the governorship election cannot be compared to what happened during the presidential election. During the presidential election, 20 governors lost their states. 20 out of 36 lost their states. And where the incumbent gets defeated, it is the greatest proof that the election is free and fair. If the incumbent fails to use the powers of the incumbent to determine the outcome, to give himself victory against the wish of the people, then you cannot say that the election was not credible. Where the incumbent insists on winning against the desires of the voters, that is the definition of rigging and manipulation of the electoral process. During the presidential election, 20 governors, I repeat, 20 governors lost their states to the opposition. APC alone lost 12 states. And you know what that means? For the ruling party to lose 12 of the states that it controlled in the presidential election, the biggest states that the APC controlled were lost during the presidential election. And when we are talking about the biggest states, we are talking about the biggest in terms of the quantum of registered voters available in those states. Because where you have a huge number of registered voters, the potential is there that huge votes will be returned from such a state. Lagos was lost by APC. Katsina was lost by APC. Kaduna was lost by APC. Kano was lost by APC. And many big states like that. So those who are saying that the 2023 presidential election is the worst in our history, they will need to tell me when in our history incumbent governors lost as many as 20 states in one election. They will need to tell me. This is the reason some of us are not convinced that that is the worst election in our history. And those who say that, they know in their hearts that they are downright dishonest, because we've seen far worse elections than that. But where people have made up their minds that this is the agenda that they are going to push, no matter what you say, it's just like fans of football clubs. To get the supporter of Liverpool to admit that something is good about Manchester United, because those are the two clubs with the fiercest rivalry in the English game. To get a Liverpool supporter to agree that something is good about Manchester United is extremely difficult. Maybe when he's drunk and unable to explain his actions. Now, those who lost the election are doing their best to ensure that the person who won does not get sworn in. All kinds of ideas are being muted. We've heard about interim national government. We've heard about, without even knowing the implication, because an interim national government is certainly going to be a military regime. It's a military regime that will be in the sidelines, just directing affairs. That was what we had in 1993. We've heard about calls for military rule. Anyone who calls for military rule does not have a sense of history. I know that these days, people hardly busy themselves with reading. But at least for the lazy person who does not want to read, he can at least be told stories. He should be patient to listen to stories so that at least he can learn from it. An interim government is not what Nigeria desires at this time. Democracy is not meant to be perfect. There will be imperfections here and there. No election is expected to be perfect, but the goal of every election is for the wish of the overriding majority to prevail, the wish of the majority. Even if that majority is represented by an extra vote, one person, it is still majority. Where the wish of the majority prevails, then the majesty of democracy has been fulfilled. This is my own submission. The 2023 presidential election has taken place. It may not have been perfect, especially when INEC promised to upload results on the INEC viewing portal, and it failed to do that. A lot of people are disappointed that it failed to do that. And a lot of people are justifiably angry with INEC that it failed to do that. But that is not enough to wish away the election. Because that same election saw people, including someone who was said to be one time an Okada rider, find his way into the House of Reps. That same election saw SDP defeat Al-Makura in Niger State and one other candidate of the APC, and SDP produced two senators. SDP produced two senators from Nasarawa State. That same election saw Peter Obi defeat the APC in Lagos, of all places, defeat the APC in Nasarawa, defeat the APC in Plateau State, defeat the APC in the two states of the Southeast that it controlled, defeat the APC in Abuja, federal capital of our country. That election has many memories that I will never allow anybody to erase from my head. I have fond memories of that election because that election saw the wish of long-suffering Nigerians reflected in the outcome in a lot of states. 20 governors well defeated in their states in the presidential election. 12 APC governors, including the former interim chairman of the APC, May Malabuni of Yobe, was defeated in the presidential election. The first time that Yobe and Borno State failed to vote for the same party. Atiku Abubakar won in Yobe State, one in Gombe, also an APC state, one in Kaduna, where APC has one of its most influential governors, Nasir El-Rufai. It's an election to remember.
Right.